Throughout human evolutionary history, eye contact has served as the most direct, uncensored signal of intent, threat assessment, and social hierarchy. Long before spoken language developed, early humans communicated dominance, submission, desire, and hostility through the duration, intensity, and frequency of their gaze. In modern human psychology, despite centuries of civilization and cultural refinement, these primal neural pathways remain entirely intact. When two individuals lock eyes, their nervous systems enter a subtle, subconscious duel for social frame control. Most people perform a rapid, erratic dance of eye movements, looking away to process thoughts, blinking excessively when feeling under pressure, or breaking gaze downward when experiencing sudden insecurity. However, when an individual selectively suppresses the natural urge to break eye contact, deploying what behavioral scientists call the unblinking gaze, it triggers a profound physiological reaction in the receiver's brain. You know, the psychological impact of a steady, unblinking gaze relies on how the human amygdala processes visual stimuli. The amygdala, the brain's primitive alarm system responsible for detecting dogma, threats, and regulating the fight or flight response, decodes prolonged, unbroken eye contact from an unwavering face as an undeniable indicator of absolute confidence, zero fear, and potential dominance. When a person blinks frequently, averaging more than 2 hours blinks per minute, the nervous system broadcasts subtle signals of internal anxiety, processing overload, or a desperate need for external reassurance. Conversely, when an individual reduces their blink rate significantly and holds a calm, steady gaze, it signals to everyone in the room that their internal state is unshakable, indifferent to social pressure, and completely anchored in high stakes social dynamics, negotiations, and power encounters. Deploying the unblinking gaze is not about engaging in a cartoonish staring contest or glaring with overt hostility. True psychological pressure does not stem from aggressive facial contortions. It comes from absolute stillness, paired with unwavering eye contact. Lower status individuals naturally look away first, break their gaze downward to acknowledge authority, or flutter their eyelids when caught off guard. By mastering the physiological mechanics of the unblinking gaze, you learn to exploit these subconscious evolutionary hardwires. You stop surrendering your ocular frame during tense moments, forcing others to absorb the psychological weight of the interaction, while you remain entirely grounded and in control. A dramatic, cinematic close up shot of a highly composed individual's eyes, featuring a calm, piercing, unblinking gaze with intense clarity and zero tension around the eyelids, while the corporate background remains softly blurred. To harness the unblinking gaze effectively without appearing unnerving or socially incompetent, you must understand how to direct your ocular focus based on your strategic objective. Eye contact is not a monolithic action, but you place your focal point on a person's face radically alters how their subconscious brain interprets your intent. In behavioral psychology, human facial geography is divided into three distinct ocular zones: the social triangle, the intimate zone, and the power triangle. Applying an unblinking gaze to the wrong zone creates unwanted awkwardness, whereas applying it to the correct zone establishes effortless psychological authority. For Kant, the social triangle spans the area between the eyes and the mouth. When people engage in casual, friendly, or low stakes conversations, their eyes naturally bounce within this lower area. While this builds warmth, It completely lacks weight or tension. The intimate zone extends from the eyes down to the chest area, signaling romantic interest or deep emotional connection. However, when your goal is to command respect, project cold composure, or apply subtle pressure during a negotiation, you must lock your gaze strictly within the power triangle. This zone forms an inverted triangle between the center of the individual's forehead and their two eyes. One, when you direct an unblinking, steady focus toward the power triangle, specifically focusing on the bridge of the receiver's nose or directly into their dominant eye, you activate their subconscious submissive responses. Because you are not looking down at their mouth or flitting between their eyes, your posture registers as an immovable wall. Combining this targeted focus with a relaxed facial expression creates an impenetrable psychological shield. You are not threatening them with anger. You are simply observing them with absolute clarity, leaving them with no choice but to adjust their behavior to match your unshakable frame. And a cinematic medium shot demonstrating a high stakes interaction across an executive glass table where a calm negotiator maintains an immovable, targeted gaze directed at the upper brow and eyes of an visibly nervous opponent. When you project an unblinking gaze directly into an opponent's power triangle, you trigger a powerful psychological phenomenon known as evaluation panic. The human mind is naturally uneasy when it cannot read another person's internal state. Most people constantly reveal their thoughts through micro expressions, rapid blinking, or breaking eye contact whenever a sensitive topic arises. When you strip away those involuntary signals and maintain a steady, unblinking focus, you create an information vacuum. In the absence of feedback, the other person's brain instinctively assumes the worst. They know something I don't, or they are analyzing my every weakness. Okay? This evaluation panic is particularly devastating during negotiations, high stakes arguments, or moments of aggressive questioning. When an opponent makes a pushy demand, drops a bluff, or attempts to assert dominance, the average person feels an immediate urge to speak, negotiate against themselves, or show physical discomfort. By executing the unblinking gaze paired with complete vocal silence, you force the pressure back onto the speaker. As the seconds tick by without a single blink or verbal response from you, their internal anxiety spikes. To relieve the unbearable psychological tension created by your silent stare, they will frequently backpedal, soften their stance, or reveal critical details they intended to hide. Okay, to maximize the impact of this technique, you must master the blink rate deceleration protocol. Before entering a high stakes conversation, consciously slow down your breathing and allow your eye muscles to relax. Rather than staring aggressively, which can look like frantic hostility, keep your eyelids soft, your jaw unclenched, and your expression completely neutral. This combination of an unblinking gaze and an absolute emotional detachment communicates ultimate status. It signals that you are not threatened by their words, nor are you eager to please them. You are simply observing them, allowing their own insecurity to dismantle their position. Like a cinematic, high contrast over the shoulder shot of an individual holding a completely calm, unblinking focus during an intense boardroom confrontation, while the opposing party nervously adjusts their posture and looks down at their papers. Beyond applying pressure during negotiations, the unblinking gaze serves as your primary tactical defense against hostile interrogations, passive aggressive insults, and dominant framing attempts. Manipulators, toxic managers, and arrogant personalities often use rapid fire questions, sharp tone shifts, or calculated insults to break your posture and induce anxiety. Their goal is to trigger a visible stress reaction, forcing your eyes to dot around the room as your brain frantically searches for an explanation, defense, or escape route. The moment your eyes break away downward or flicker rapidly during an attack, you surrender control of the frame. In behavioral psychology, darting eyes during a confrontation are decoded as a defensive flight response. To completely neutralize an aggressive interrogation, you must apply the anchor and hold maneuver. When hit with a hostile question or an unexpected challenge, do not look up at the ceiling to think, do not look down at your hands in submission, and do not blink in shock. Lock your unblinking gaze directly onto the attacker's dominant eye. Pause for 2 full seconds in total stillness, and then deliver your response in a slow, low pitched cadence. And this deliberate delay, combined with an unblinking gaze, completely flips the psychological pressure back onto the interrogator. It signals to everyone watching that the attack failed to penetrate your composure. By refusing to give them the anxious eye movements they were hunting for, you transform their aggressive outburst into an embarrassing display of unprovoked emotional instability. The interrogator realizes that their tactics have zero effect on your internal state, forcing them to drop their aggressive posture and adjust to your grounded rhythm. A dramatic cinematic shot of a cool, collected professional sitting in a brightly lit interview setting, maintaining an immovable, unblinking focus directly at an aggressive interviewer, whose confrontational posture begins to wilt. When you combine biological awareness, targeted ocular placement, evaluation panic, and defensive anchoring, you achieve complete control over your eye contact dynamics. The unblinking gaze ceases to be just a tactical maneuver. It becomes a permanent, subconscious projection of high status, absolute composure, and cold authority. High value individuals never use their eyes to beg for validation, search for approval in a room, or signal internal panic under stress. Their gaze remains steady, calm, and deliberate, treating every environment they step into with absolute ownership. Like mastering this skill requires understanding that true eye contact dominance is rooted in internal stillness rather than external hostility. You do not need to glare, frown, or attempt to intimidate anyone. The most dangerous, influential presence in any room is the individual who can look directly into the eyes of a powerful opponent, absorb intense social pressure without a single blink or facial twitch, and respond with complete emotional detachment. When your eyes remain immovable, your mind stays untouchable. Again, the ultimate rule of ocular control: weakness is revealed in rapid blinks and darting eyes. Authority is established in steady, unshakable focus. The person who controls their gaze controls the frame of the entire room. Carry this ocular framework into every negotiation, high stakes conversation, and tense confrontation you face. Keep your eyelids relaxed, slow down your blink rate, hold the power triangle, and allow your unblinking composure to command respect before you even speak a single word. When you master your gaze, you step out of social submission and take your place as the silent conductor of every dynamic around you. A breathtaking, cinematic wide shot of a solitary, impeccably styled leader standing at the head of a massive executive boardroom table, maintaining a serene, piercing, unblinking gaze as night city lights illuminate the towering floor to ceiling glass windows behind them.